Like some cat's in a tree, can you come save it?
Yeah.
That thing, or like in the gutter. I get the gutter one,
Yeah,
but
we
the
get
tree one
those.
too.
Yeah, we get the true one, and it's like, I mean, if we can get to it, then we'll try. But if not, it's
You say no, like nah,
like,
man. Like he's
no.
good. All right, guys. Good morning, good afternoon. It's another day on the Real Grand podcast. And today, I want to say hi to Mr. Rick Torres over here. This guy's a firefighter and a paramedic. Specifically, he's done 10 years in fire and 2 years as a paramedic. So thanks for being on, bro.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and
Appreciate it.
on top of that, he's also a friend of ours, right? Kind of, we hadn't seen each other in a while. So
Yeah, it's been a minute.
this is fun, man. So we're gonna be talking about your role as a firefighter in the community, man. It's
Cool.
you said 10 years, right?
Yeah. 2004 marks 10 years. Started back in 2014.
Oh wow!
So it's
Happy anniversary, man. What month was it?
when I first started, it was in September. And so I guess maybe till we get to September, it'll actually be 10 years.
This is cool, man, because like we don't really get to talk to like that side of like civil service that much. I mean, we deal with like you see paramedics all the time, you see firefighters you see cops all the time. You try not to, but you don't really get to like, I don't know, like interact with them or like kind of like hear their side of the story.
For
So
sure.
just wanted to come on and talk about what you do. Let me ask you this, man. What makes a firefighter want to perform their job? Like not necessarily why did you become a firefighter, but like when you think about what you do, like running into fires, like all the whole like automotive stuff, the accidents, like what makes you want to go out there and answer those calls?
I think it goes back to the type of person, man. There's a lot of people that generally want to help. I think you see that all around. But when you get into this job, I think it's within the first year you find out if it's like really meant for you or not. Because a lot of people don't understand or realize what the job entails. News media will only show you so much of like what we do. It's only like a portion of it. All the actual patient contact, dealing with the fire, dealing with your own emotions as you're taking care of those types of calls. That's really what kind of gauges whether you're able to do that job or not. So, I mean, for me, I've always genuinely loved helping people. Um, I come from a line of firefighters. My dad was a firefighter, and so watching him do it, I guess it kind of got inculcated in me to want to see if I could do the same job. And I tried it out, and I fell in love with it, man. It's a different rush. It's a different type of rewarding feeling that you get after helping somebody and knowing that you make a difference a little bit, right? I mean, it's a little cliche when people, the firefighters are heroes. I mean, I consider just anybody who wants to help generally a hero. So, being able to do that and get that sense of like self gratification, I guess, then it's pretty cool. I like it.
What's that rush? Because I've heard people talk about it.
The adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, man. One thing that I tell a lot of people, because I've had a lot of people ask me, is the job hard? It's only hard when it is. And that what it means is, for the most part, it's not a hard job to do. But when it is, like when the call actually hits, that's when it's hard. Most people go through their day-to-day 9 to 5 jobs. They get to work, they have their issues, their stress level climbs up, and then by 5 it comes down, right? So like their bodies are like already accustomed to the way that stress is going to affect them. They know they're going into work, that stress, they're going to deal with it all day, and then it'll come down.
Yeah, that's true.
With us, it's a little bit different. You can go from like 0 to like 100% stress in a matter of seconds, and then it stays like that, and then it's really hard for it to come back down. I've had calls where it's just like, it's so much that even after the call's done, your heart's still pumping, that adrenaline's still rushing, and then finally it comes down and you get so tired afterwards.
Oh, but, yeah? You feel like
you feel the drain. You feel the drain afterwards.
The cortisol and everything.
Exactly. Yeah, it builds up and then it just drops. So That adrenaline, it's fun, man. It really is fun because in that moment, it's just like, it feels like almost your senses get heightened
Mm.
because of from going from like relax, we'll be sitting around the day room or just chilling on the couches watching TV, and then all of a sudden a call drops and it's just like boom,
So you could be watching the game and in 5 minutes you're like
exactly. We're in the
on
middle
the
of like a
scene.
really nasty car accident or a house that's fully engulfed in flames, and it's you just went
Mm.
from chilling to like cheering for your team or whatever to
Yeah.
I got to get in there, I got to do work. It's pretty crazy how fast that change happens, but when it does, that adrenaline, it really hyper focuses all your senses. It's weird.
So would you say that you guys are adrenaline junkies?
Some guys are,
Yeah.
not everybody. I now 10 years later on the job, it doesn't hit me the same way unless it's like real like emergencies. For
Hmm.
the most part, there's still some guys that get that adrenaline rush with any call, and it could be just like, oh, smoke alarm's going off, nothing's really
Oh yeah, that happens a lot, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But like when it's real, like it's once I get there and I see that, oh, okay, this is a real, emergency, that's when it spikes up on me.
Okay. So like, yeah, on the way, it's like it could be
Yeah.
back at the station in 10 minutes because
Yeah.
somebody just
Because I've had lots of
burned like
calls
the
like
rice or
that.
something. Like, or
Yeah.
that's not even possible. I don't know why I said that, but
No, no, it happens I had a house that got fully engulfed because somebody left flautas in the oil, and then they
really.
took off, yeah, and like the whole front of their house
Oh,
burned
they
down.
left the house.
He just wasn't watching it anymore. I think he
Oh,
stepped away
oh,
from
like the
it.
thing took off. The fire took off.
It took off, and it was right in one of the kitchen was right like by the window. So as soon as the flames got hot enough, it broke the window, and then it went up into the attic and it started taking off.
Um, wait, I don't know why this just came to my mind. You guys don't? You don't go down a pole, right? You don't have that anymore. This is the stupidest thing to ask a firefighter, but like it's like a nurse used to wear the hat, like, but you don't, right?
No, no. I mean, it was a thing at a time. I think the only fire station in the valley that has a pole, well, no, it's not even a working pole anymore because people were getting injured coming down on it.
Really?
Yeah, they weren't training them properly, so they were spraining their ankles. Is in South Padre Island.
Oh, okay.
I think they have a 3-story fire station, and so they actually had on the second floor was where all the dorms were,
Yeah.
and so they would actually take the pole down. But I think they put it out of service because too many people were
Yeah.
like spraining their
Workman's
ankle.
comp. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
but like, well,
You
there's,
look at the pole for a second and be like, you know what? Do I want a workman's comp injury? All right, let's do this.
well, I mean, I was asking because are they not all like 2 stories? Like the fire stations are not?
No, not
Oh,
anymore. A
okay.
lot of them are single stories. Westlaco, I think they had an old station that had a pole, but they put it out of service as well. They put a little spiral staircase that went all the way down.
Around it?
No, no, I think they just removed it and
Oh, okay.
they
Okay, yeah.
replaced it with a spiral
So you run
staircase.
downstairs.
In that one, yeah, you would run downstairs.
Oh, but you don't like like some of them are 1 story, right? Like you don't even have to deal with that anymore. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay, that's cool. I don't know why that just came to my
No,
mind.
no,
Because that's that whole thing, like Dalmatians and like the old classic stuff. Like,
and there's a story about that as well. The Dalmatians actually used to run in front of the horse carriages that would pull the pumps, and they would bark in the middle of the street to let people know that the horses were coming, that the fire brigade was coming. So they had a purpose at one point, and then they would also help like keep the horses like on track, like they wouldn't let them go all over the place.
oh wow.
Yeah, and it just became one of like the staples of like, oh, Dalmatian's a fire dog.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it was like a mascot for a while, right? At some point, and then it just
It still
doesn't
is.
even
I think
exist.
I think we have a Sparky. It's a big old mascot suit of a Dalmatian with a fire helmet.
Oh, I thought you meant like an actual
No.
dog. Like you actually have a Dalmatian. Like,
No. We don't have a Dalmatian.
you have cats that like chill around.
No,
No,
not too many.
you don't feed them.
No.
Dude, anyway, going back to what we were talking about. I was thinking about that whole burning house thing, right? Like, I have a question for you, man, because like in different professions or like in different worlds, there's certain like times when you, I guess like triaging like a certain time where things aren't worth it anymore. Or I guess what I'm asking is there a point like when you decide, or how do you decide when you go in, when you show up to a scene, there's a burning house? When do you decide whether or not you're gonna go inside and save someone, or you're gonna stay out and just fight the fire? Is there like a
It's
threshold?
Yeah, there is. It's risk over reward, basically. How much risk is there to how much reward is there? Obviously, if there's life, then we risk it. Like we'll go in, we'll do what we have to. We'll get that body out because there's somebody in there. And if there's
Okay.
a chance that we can get him out, then we're gonna do that.
Is that only if you know that, or do you search it? Like,
That's the other thing, right? That comes into play. During the day, it's usually easy to tell because people will tell you, oh yeah, no, everybody's out of the house already. It's at night when it's a little bit more dangerous because people are asleep. Some people got out, neighbors don't know. So in those cases, we'll try to do a real quick search between each of the rooms, see if anybody's there, get them out. And
In
then
the fire.
yeah, and then we'll fight the fire. And usually it's contained to like one room. And usually people are good about, oh, I think there's somebody still trapped in there or whatnot. But there has to be like a risk over reward. If there's nobody in there and it's a safe fire, meaning we don't see any signs of like structural collapse, then we'll still go in because we're trying to prevent, the people's property from burning up completely. If
that's another thing. Yeah,
if we can save one room or if we can contain the fire to one room, and that's the only room that gets really badly damaged, then the whole house is still viable. But if we get to the point where we're looking at the house and there's signs of like structural collapse, the imminent structural collapse that's about to happen, we won't send our guys in because it's just, there's no risk. I mean, there's no reward at that point. So we're not going to risk our lives. But yeah, it goes people or lives, souls, property, and then us. Yeah. And we gauge it between those three things. If we can do that, then that kind of determines, that's that threshold that you're talking about, whether we're going to run in or not.
That's different, man, because like in other emergency, like in like paramedicine or like in nursing or in hospital medicine, like property is not a factor. That's weird that you have to consider that too. Like you're also saving property.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. I had never thought about that.
Yeah.
So have you personally ever had a situation where the whole house is engulfed?
The whole house. Yeah, I've had a couple.
Or like majority of like the whole.
Yeah, I've had a couple that went that way, and
you had like you dealt with it yourself. Like
yeah,
you responded to that call.
I responded. I was on an engine, and that one. There's been a few. There was one where there was a serial arsonist who was lighting fires in abandoned buildings, and like the whole building was gone. And so at that point, I remember, I won't mention names or departments, but the captain was telling me to get up on a ladder, and my lieutenant was like, no, like the whole house is gone already. Like there's no point. Like just let it burn.
What would that be for? Like why do you get on the ladder?
To get up to shoot water from above because
from the top?
Yeah, because there was
to save it
hard to reach angles within the house, and it looked like it was already just. I told the lieutenant, I was like, I'm not like 100% like confident. Like there's nobody in there. We know there's nobody in there. It's an abandoned house. We've already checked everything. Like what's the point? And so he was on the same page with me, but the captain was like, no, you got to get up there. And well, either way, I never did. But
who calls the shots?
So,
because you said captain, lieutenant, is there someone that tells you go in or like don't? You don't decide on your own, right? Like each firefighter.
Yeah, no, that's called freelancing. It's a big no.
Oh, like just running in?
Just running and doing your own thing. No, we try to work as a team. So each engine has a lieutenant, and that lieutenant will be in charge of like the 2 or 3 guys that's on the engine. And so he'll give us like a game plan. Like this is what we're gonna do. Or each task as it comes. And usually you have your captain who gets there and he becomes like the whole incident commander, and he'll like overview everything. So he'll tell each captain, hey, I need you all to go do, water suppression in the back. He'll tell another crew, I need you guys to go up and ventilate, open up the roof. And he'll tell another crew for something else. So we go based upon that. So the call comes from the lieutenant, and he was the one who told the captain, no, we're not going to do that. We don't feel safe doing that. And there's no reason. Like the house is already burned down. At this point, let's just let it burn, make sure it's contained. There's no exposures or other houses that are at risk. So
yeah, that's true.
What we do there is just called surround and drown. We just put up water all from all different locations and just drown it out.
Okay. Is the captain the fire chief, or that's a whole different?
No, there's a lot of ranks.
There is, right?
Yeah, there is a lot of ranks. There goes firefighter, your engineer, your lieutenant, your captain, and then you have like training captains, logistic captains.
But they're not on the scene, those guys, right?
No, I mean, unless it's like a really big major scene, we'll call in more people. But for the most part, the ones that just arrive is the shift captain. So like we have 3 different shifts, A, B, and C, and that's how we rotate out. So each shift has a captain.
I see.
And so he's in charge of, like where I work right now, there's 5 stations. Well, no, 6 stations. So he's in charge of basically all the stations, make sure everybody gets, the work that they need to get done. And then when any incidents happen, he's on scene managing it basically.
And it's just a random question that I thought of, man. Do you know how much weight is on you when you're all decked up?
Yeah, about 75 pounds.
75 pounds, like with a tank and
With the
on all the
tank
gear.
and the jacket, the boots, the helmet, everything. It's about
75
75 pounds.
pounds.
Yeah, roughly
And
around
you're
there.
sweating hardcore in there, right?
Yeah, because those suits are they've got 3 different layers. They don't let heat in, but at the same time they don't let heat out. So it's got like a thermal barrier. So any heat that you generate inside that suit is gonna stay with you.
Trapped.
Yeah, so you won't get burned from like the outside heat or for a good amount of time, right? They're fire retardant, not fire resistant.
Remember that?
Yeah, so but I mean you can definitely get burned in one of those suits. But the other thing is that it's got a moisture barrier and a thermal barrier. So when you generate all that heat, like you're trapped in there with it. So it gets hot pretty quick, and especially in this weather. The guys had a fire I think 2 days ago, and the pictures that they look like they were hurting because it was like the middle of the day, and right now we're reaching like temperatures of what 100 and 108, 110.
With just the fire in the sun.
Exactly. So yeah, no, I know those guys were beat, but they did a good job. They saved that house.
Yesterday?
I think it was like 2 days ago.
Just recently?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
man.
very, very recent. Yeah.
So this is that whole like typical podcast question, man. But what's the toughest thing you've ever had to go through as a firefighter? Toughest call, toughest scene.
Toughest call, toughest scene. I think anyone that has to deal with kids, man. When kids are involved, it's a little bit harder. I guess fire calls.
Ever had like a crazy story? I didn't want to ask that crazy story because I like this is like such a cliche thing.
I
But
have one more on the EMS side. I've had some pretty crazy stories on the EMS side for like actual patient care. On the fire side, I mean, I've had some sad calls, just car accidents. Yeah, car accidents. We had one fatality in a burning building, but that one was just, it was a tough one. That fire was tough to fight. And then 2, the person's house they were hoarders. So getting into that house was just the hardest thing to do.
you couldn't really fight it.
No, it was just like, it was extremely, that was one of the ones where we kind of went in and then it was like, hey, look, patient's already out. This fire load is getting really, really hot. There's no sense of us being in here anymore. Like,
You knew she was unconscious already?
yeah, because they had called it over the radio. Patient was, taken out through the back window.
Oh, she was taken out. I thought you meant she's out. Like
No.
like she's already like. Okay.
No, they took her
Sorry.
out through the back window and they started working on her. They did their thing over there. But at that point, I was in with my partner in the front, and he was trying to like just move stuff out of the way to try to get in. And the fire was coming off, the side of the wall where we were standing. And it's just, the heat was like really, really bad. And you have your mask, right, where you're breathing air, but you can feel the heat like on the top of your forehead when it's like really, really intense.
And
Feels like an oven.
it's like flames everywhere.
It can be. On this one, it was just off the top of the side, and you can see him. But at that point, I pulled him out. I said, "Hey, man, there's 0 point of us being in here." And the lieutenant agreed. He's like, "Yeah, don't go in there anymore. It's a death trap. There's so much stuff all over the place. It's
Collapse.
really easy to get lost in there. It's really easy to get entangled in something." So he was just like, "There's no point. Just pull back."
But it turned out there was no one in there.
Yeah, there was in the back.
No, but like after they took her out.
Yeah,
like,
no, she lived alone. So we that's the type of information that we have to verify. Does she live alone? Does she have anybody with her? No, and so we knew that the chances of anybody else being there was zero, slim to none.
But
Right?
the patient didn't make it. Too.
Yeah, no,
Was it smoke inhalation?
Smoke
or-
inhalation.
That's usually what it is, right?
yeah,
That's why they say to like get down. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Like
yeah, because the smoke will tend to rise, but like this lady had stuff all over the place. So I have no idea how she would even get down on the floor.
like getting down is like 5 feet up.
Yeah, pretty much. There was stuff all over the place. But yeah, definitely. If you're in a house and there's a lot of smoke, get as low as you can to the ground. And
Is that what you guys don't crawl though inside, right? Like because you have the stuff like.
We try to still tend
You still
low.
do?
Yeah,
Okay.
we still try to tend to stay low because of that heat. You'll feel it. That heat barrier, as soon as you stand up, you'll feel it. So if it gives us, and visibility is the other thing. All that smoke will rise, and if you stay low to the ground, you can see a lot better as you're like walking through a house.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Is it has anyone in your, I guess, jurisdictions? Have you ever had the stupid story where like somebody like like a
Cat
turkey
in a tree?
explodes.
Oh,
Like with what did
I
you
thought, I
say?
thought you were gonna say cat in a tree.
No, no, that's that thing happened with the turkey when the Thanksgiving. They always show that thing where like they put a turkey in like a fry or
Uh
outdoors.
huh.
Is that ever you ever had that stupid call?
I haven't
Wait, not
had.
stupid call because it's gonna happen to me like in 20 years. So I better not say that. But have you ever had that type of deal?
Not turkey per se, but I have had a couple of like barbecue explosions.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
But like
with other stuff.
that's legit. Like the propane or what?
No, not propane. They just were burning other stuff, or they threw gasoline in there to try to burn stuff. Yeah, people are
Oh, that's the thing,
real
bro.
smart.
You douse a sock in gasoline to like light the fire.
Yeah, and it was funny because we were driving back to the station at night, and we heard like that a pop, and kind of looked around, and you just see like this real big black smoke, and it's nighttime, but you could still see it. And I told my lieutenant, I was like, "Hey, there's a big old puff of black smoke over there, LT. You should go check it out." And sure enough, we did a round, and it had actually caught. They had like a little patio set in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And like the awning at the top, it had caught for a little bit, but he had like shut it down with water. You could tell the guy was all paniqueado because
Yeah, that wasn't even a call then. Like you saw it
yeah,
yourself.
we saw it. And
Like a bat signal. Like,
we rolled up. I was like, that doesn't look right. Like we should go check it out.
what do you see like in the smoke? Like is it just black smoke tells you that it's something like? Because there's like icy smoke. Sometimes you're driving like oh, and you think it's like sugar cane.
Hmm.
Is there like something like a signature to it that you recognize or what?
Yeah, black usually means like wood products or like combustible products usually burn black.
Hmm.
You have your gray smoke, yellow smoke, white smoke. So yeah, you learn to like tell all the different types of patterns. And then even when, you have burning buildings, the way the smoke is rolling out tells you a lot about the fire that's going on the inside.
So I got another one for you, man. And this one is like, this could go in any industry. Like I think about servers, like when everyone's mad at the server at the restaurant, but like they're not the ones cooking it, or like they're getting mad at the server, and you just wish the server wishes like the customer knew this side of the story or whatever. Is there something that firefighters wish people knew that we just don't?
uh
Anything that like the community is not aware of, or like things that we get mad at, or like just stuff that, or things that we do that firefighters wish we just didn't, and we always do out of ignorance or anything like that.
I don't think there's anything that people do out of ignorance.
Like I wish everyone knew
I think I
this.
wish that the media would portray it a little bit more better, because a lot of people think, oh, the firefighters just sit around all day, sleep and eat, and they don't really do
Push-ups,
much.
jumping jacks.
Yeah, that's all we're doing all day. That I guess would be the only thing. The truth of the matter is we train all day.
You do, right? Like you're like in like you got a gym set up out there and everything. Like
We have
weight
a
sets.
gym, and then we'll either do, like actual hands-on training with different equipment. We make sure everything's in working condition. Every morning we check off the truck. We go through all the equipment, make sure it turns on. If it needs to be maintenance, then we maintenance it. Our engines, all the trucks, the ladders, everything. So the whole day really go, and then we do a lot of PR stuff as well. Oh hey, we need the firefighters to come over here to talk to the kids. Or hey, these people are asking for someone to come by and talk to them about this. So there's a lot of PR that we do with the public. So it's not just, sitting down, sleeping and stuff. I mean, there is a time for that, but the most of the day goes to like actually training, working, doing stuff. It's a busy job for the most part.
No, you can tell, man. You can tell.
It's not hard work, but it does keep you busy for sure.
Have you ever had the cat in a tree?
I have.
Really?
Yeah.
Like literally, like some cats in a tree. Can you come save it?
Yeah.
That thing, or like in the gutter. I get the gutter one.
Yeah,
but
we
the
get
tree
those,
one too.
Yeah, we get the tree one, and it's like, I mean, if we can get to it, then we'll try. But if not, it's like
You say no? Like nah, man. Like
No.
he's good. I think he's good.
We don't say no. It's like if he got himself up there, he can get himself down. Just,
Oh yeah.
It's like one
Oh,
of
because
those.
the person's panicked, right?
Yeah.
Like my kitty or whatever.
Exactly.
You tell him like, man, like there's a reason he's up there. Right?
Exactly. The cat got up there. It's more than likely he can get down. Just give it some time, and they get bored from being up there, and they'll finally come down. But yeah, no, we get that one. We get that one quite often. Cats and drains, dogs and drains.
Oh,
stuff like that.
I get that. You've had dogs in drains?
Saved a couple of dogs.
You have?
Yeah, we've had a couple where that flauta fire, there was dogs in the house and they were kind of freaking out and they started running out.
Flauta fire.
And so we kind of just hit them with water, like not hard, obviously,
Yeah.
but just so that they would move out of the way.
Beat 'em out.
And they came out, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna, I don't know why I was laughing about that either. It'll flout the fire,
The
I
flat
guess.
the fire.
Man. So, oh, this is what I was gonna ask you, man. I've seen people say like that. Is it true that you're not supposed to put water like over a fire when you're cooking? Like that makes it worse, right?
Yeah, especially if you're like cooking with oil, you throw water, and since oil and water don't mix, all it's gonna do is like splash everything out of that
But it
pan.
spreads the fire. Yeah, so literally splashes fire.
Exactly, because you're throwing water in, it's just gonna spread that oil all over the place, and so that spread, the oil's hot, it'll burn everything else around it. So just cover it.
Okay, that's what
Turn,
we should do then.
yeah, turn off the fire or turn off the
The
electricity
oxygen
to it,
source.
and then just cover it. Yeah,
Okay,
Let,
so cut off the
cut
oxygen.
off the oxygen source.
Okay, because I've
Yeah.
seen that like on Instagram and
No, yeah,
TikTok, even
it's
like at restaurants, like there's like a I guess like an oil fire. Is that
mhm.
what it is? And they
Yeah.
just like and like the horrible thing is that like in an emergency, it could seem like the logical thing to
People
do.
panic, right? And that's
Yeah,
what it is. Like, oh, I got to do
water's like
something.
the classic. Yeah, yeah, you're panicking and like. I mean, you didn't take the class. You didn't take the oil fire class right in high school. So you're just like, I feel bad because I can see how that would happen.
Yeah.
But that have you had that kind of stuff where like people like, oh, I guess almost every fire is like people making a mistake, right? Like it's always like appliances or stuff like that.
Not
Or
necessarily. I mean, it could be electrical fires. There's a lot of different reasons why fires start. Any type of heat source gets hot enough and it'll just ignite. But yeah, I mean, you have the ones that are silly mistakes, but that's one of the reasons why we do a lot of PR as well.
mm,
Our prevention department, they'll do like with all the schools, like smart cooking, stuff like that, especially for the kids,
mm.
because that's also, where you see it a lot. Most adults have common sense and know how to do stuff, around their own homes. But the kids are the ones that, they don't know. And something simple as, oh, you're too close to the stove and you're running through there, knock over a pan, and now you got a fire going on. Um, so yeah, I mean it does happen, but for the most part, people are pretty good about using their common sense when it
Okay.
comes to cooking.
So I got two more questions for you on the whole firefighter thing.
Hit me.
Um, I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but 10 years, right? Why are you still doing it? Like what? Why do you love this? Like why? Like firefighting? Like it's the one of the things that everyone's supposed to like get away from. So like why do you like it?
I just it's rewarding, man, and
Yeah.
it's rewarding, and it's one of those jobs that I fell in love with. Um, you kind of also have to be good at it, right? You can't. I don't think there's anybody who's goes into a job and is like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be mediocre at it. And in this job, there's always something new to learn, man. There's always something new to learn.
Mm,
There's a saying that says, the minute you think you know everything is the minute that you got to retire, because now you're going to put other people at risk, because there's just so much to learn in different tactics, in different, suppression styles, and there's so many facets within the fire industry as far as like, becoming expert on like, maybe confined space. You can learn all the, different types of, tactics that you can do for confined space rescue. You can do trench rescue, vehicle stabilization, ladders, ropes and ladders. There's just so many different, suppression itself, suppression techniques. And I've been lucky enough to go to a couple of different trainings. Like in A&M, they have a big fire school over there. It's amazing. It's really, really amazing over there. And so it's just one of those things, man. 10 years, and I still feel like there's so much more I can learn and grow into, because you learn and you add things onto your belt, but you see these other guys that have been in it for a long time, and you see them do even like the simplest little things, and it's just like, wow, man, I didn't know that, and now I know something different. And so it continues to like keep that motivation and excitement in your job to want to learn more and grow in it.
okay. So then that leads me to my next one. What's one thing that firefighting has taught you?
Oh, it's kind of a loaded question, man.
It is. It is
That is definitely a loaded question.
like a baked potato. Huh?
Yeah.
Like a loaded baked potato. What's one thing that it's given you or taught you?
It's taught me to be grateful and appreciative, man. We see a lot of crazy calls, a lot of sad calls, and it makes you appreciative. If you reflect on certain little things, you see inside the lives of a lot of people. I think it's in a very intimate type of setting, because you pass down your neighbors' houses left and right. You'll never know what's inside their houses, right? Unless you're like actually close friends with them. And when we have fire calls or car accidents, like, you get to this point where you cross like all these boundaries, and you're now like very, very close to this person, and they will like tell you like everything about themselves. They will show you who they are. And so being able to have that type of relationship with, and it's even like if it's for 15 minutes to 20 minutes, however long the call lasts, you get to have that type of intimacy with that type of person that most people just won't ever have. And you get to have it with so many different people that it makes you really appreciate what you have, and be grateful for the types of things that you do or don't have. And seeing these people, it's their worst day that they could be having in emergencies, and you're there as a light for them to help out. So being able to do that, it makes you appreciative. It makes you really reflect on, little aspects of life that maybe sometimes we take for granted. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that it's taught me, is not to take any little thing for granted, because we see it in fire, in police, and EMS. I think, and even nurses, right? And doctors, those are the ones who are the closest with death and accept it for what it is. The rest of the public is they're very shielded from it. They only see death at funerals, and it's only for a moment. And in these other fields, you have to kind of get accustomed to it. You have to accept it. Like, this is a part of life. So
And it's dirty.
It is.
It's not a casket cleaned up, polished.
Exactly. You see it in its raw, most, authentic form. And so it makes you really not take for granted those little things. So that's probably one of the biggest things.
All right, man. Dang, man. Yeah, you see, because like you see firefighters all the time, but like you don't realize. I guess I didn't mean to make it that deep, but like they're carrying 75 pounds, but the real weight of what they're carrying is like everything they've been through, man.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. There's
and you wake up the next day and keep doing it.
There's the face that we give to the public, right? Because you can't look afraid, you can't look worried,
because you're the answer.
Exactly, you're supposed to be the answer, so you have to carry that with you. But once you get back and you kind of sit back, that's usually when it hits you. Maybe a day later, 2 days later.
Oh yeah,
you reflect on it, and it's like, man, you just get that sense of dread over you, and it's like, man, that was heavy. But yeah, you do have to put on that costume, so to say, and be that person.
Okay, man. Well, I guess next time we see a firefighter, we gotta appreciate them a little bit more, right? Because they're not just taking naps all day, right?
No.
If they are, that's a good thing, because that means your house is not burning, right? That means like your new Civic didn't like crash on the expressway.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like that's one thing. Like with certain like especially those types of careers, like when people get upset about that, it kind of doesn't make sense to me. Because like, what do you want? Do you want them to be like work? Like if you think they're not working, do you want them to be working all day?
Exactly.
That's bad for you. Like that's bad for the community. You know what I mean? Like, man, like that's horrible, dude. Like I would rather the firefighters like be playing cards, because that means that everybody's safe in the neighborhood.
Exactly. And it's the mindset that we have. We say it's better that we have a slow day, because that at least it means there wasn't bad stuff happening going around. Then busy days. The busy days are the worst.
The action.
Yeah, the action days. You get tired, man.
Yeah, and 24-hour shifts. 24-hour shifts, man. It's not 12.
Yeah, 24 hours. I think I'm trying to think of what other occupations do 24, because nurses do 12. I think PD does 12.
Cops do 12. Yeah.
I think EMS is the only one that does
24-hour shifts. Yeah, probably. I mean, maybe just random other like fields, like sectors, but like it's probably not safe for much other jobs, man. To
continue going that long.
I mean, there are doctors that are on call for the weekend, so I guess you could count them in there too, like the call, the residents, and all that.
Yeah, they got to get up and get to work when it's time. Yeah, that's one of the things that I think is also misconcepted a lot. People are like, oh, you work for 24 hours, like you're up for 24 hours straight. No, we're not. Once nighttime comes around, we'll go to bed. But if a call drops, that's why we're already there at the station, ready to go. Yeah,
because you still have to be there, like ready to suit up.
Exactly.
Go down the pole, call the Dalmatian. Freddy Luis or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I think that's the tough part, man. Waking up in the middle of the night, it takes some time getting used to that.
How do you go back to sleep after like a tough? Do you go back to sleep?
If it's like a really tough call, usually not. I mean, unless like it depends on what time of the night it is. If it's already like at 3, 4 in the morning, I'm like, might as well just stay up. I'll stay up till I clock out, and then I'll go home and I'll rest. But
because you still got that adrenaline, right?
Yeah, you still have that adrenaline, but it's like the coming to all your senses, right? You know, you can be like in a super deep sleep, and then 4 in the morning, they're shaking you, waking you up, like, wake up, we got this going on. And it's like, okay,
Dude,
hold
that's
up.
crazy.
Where am
man.
I? What's going on?
Dude, that's crazy because like we all have had that feeling where it's like you're mad because your like daughter or your cousin made you go to Walmart, and I just woke up 30 minutes ago and I'm driving to Walmart, but you just like made us realize like you could have woken up 10 minutes ago and now you're like at a horrible car accident, or like you're in the middle of like that's okay. I hope that the whole cat thing doesn't happen at night. But yeah, like either way, like you just woke up. You don't even know like what day it is or like what country you're in, and you're on the way to like save somebody's life.
Yeah,
Dang.
Yeah, that feeling of waking up, and you know, most people like they hate it. Yeah, they hate waking up in the middle of the night, right? But you just kind of got to get used to it. I had a funny story. A buddy of mine, he woke up and he got onto the truck, and he was supposed to take his radio with him. And somehow, because I mean, we all have a radio, but somehow he didn't grab it. Basically, he grabbed what he thought was his radio, but it wasn't the radio. So we're in the middle of the truck, right? We just got into this call. It was a simple fire alarm, nothing.
He just
crazy.
woke up.
Yeah, and we're on our way back. And they're looking at him, and he's like, "Why do you have your shampoo bottle with you?"
Are you serious? Well, like he was carrying it?
He was carrying a shampoo bottle, but it's because he still half asleep.
But not in his hand, right?
I think it was in his hand. I can't remember. But it was just, he thought he had grabbed his radio because, you know, we usually put our stuff like on a little nightstand, and, you know, in the middle of the night, waking up 4 in the morning, okay, let me grab my stuff.
Yeah.
Thinking you're grabbing your radio, and you have your, you know, bottle of shampoo.
But he didn't need it though, right? That's why he didn't realize.
Yeah.
Like it was just like a false alarm or whatever.
Yeah, it was one of those false alarms, just simple call. They were
scared of shampoo. Dude, I was thinking in my head, like, imagine he says he had an aguacate. That's the same thing. Like, he had a shampoo bottle. Like, dude, that's horrible, man. Poor guy could have gotten in trouble for that too, right?
Yeah, we played it off.
Yeah, that's funny though, dude.
It's one of those simple things.
That's a product of the whole, like, you just woke up, right?
Exactly.
Dang,
it takes some time getting used to
oh, now you felt like when he realized it.
Yeah.
This feels stupid. Dude, that must be annoying then, getting calls for false alarms when you just woke up. Like,
those are the hard ones, man. It does.
But you don't know until you get there though, right?
But it really does test your patience when you get there, and it's like, man, come on. This is a silly call, but it is what it is. Part of
silly call. I like the rated G way.
Yeah, that's the best way I can put it.
This was a silly call. Go back to sleep. Put the shampoo back, man. That was a silly call.
That was a silly call. Yeah, for sure.
That's good, man. You got to be lighthearted though, right? That's part of it. Man.
No, we joke and we play around with each other all the time, man.
You have to, right?
That's one of the other things I really like about the industry. It's a brotherhood, man. This is like your family away from home. You're spending 24 hours with these people all day long. So if you don't get along with them, you know, it's gonna make your job harder. So
yeah,
we love to, you know, mess around with each other, you know, joke on each other,
pranks.
Yeah, prank on each other. But it's all good and it's all lighthearted. It's never anything like, you know, with malintentions or anything, but it also helps bond, you know, like with brothers yourself.
Well, you're gonna need it when you're in the middle of a situation.
Exactly. You want to look over to your brother and know, all right, you got me, I got you. Let's do this.
Go to war.
Whatever it is. Let's do this.
All right, man. Well, we got a lot to think about now. You know, make sure that we don't carry shampoo bottles. All right, all our fire partners out there listening. But hey, man, thanks for coming in. This was not during his 24-hour shift.
No, not.
But we appreciate it, man.
Brother,
give us a little bit of an insight.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man.